Lisa Barron has more now, live from Baghdad. Lisa?
Good evening. Yes, a rocket hit the Sheraton Hotel in central Baghdad a short while ago, hitting one of the upper floors and breaking windows but causing no casualties. A second rocket was found in the street outside, not having hit the hotel, missing its target. Meanwhile, it seems like there could be a settlement heading in the southern holy city of Najaf, and that fighting could be heating up in the western Sunni city of Fallujah. UN envoy Brahimi, who was here today in Baghdad, said that the UN condemns the fighting on all sides. On the outskirts of one of Iraq's holiest cities, U.S. troops have gathered in force, ready to move against the radical Shiite cleric they've branded an outlaw. The U.S. blames Muqtada al-Sadr for inciting the violent clashes between his Shiite militia and U.S. troops in the south. Al-Sadr offered peace proposals today in an effort to avoid a bloodbath, but the U.S. has vowed to kill or capture the fiery cleric.
We want to be very careful to let the civilian population know that our fight is not against the Iraqi people. Our fight is against those thugs and the militiamen of al-Sadr.
The fighting is also against Sunni insurgents in the besieged city of Fallujah. Iraqi mediators said they have extended a shaky ceasefire. But gunfire still echoes through the streets, while U.S. planes search for targets from the air. Some Marines say the insurgents are simply taking advantage of the situation, and there have been more true casualties. The latest deaths make April the deadliest month here for the U.S. military, deadlier even than the invasion launched in March last year. But a United Nations envoy says the handover of power to Iraqis will go ahead as planned. Still, the number of foreign civilians abducted by insurgents is a major concern. Dozens are still being held hostage. And 4 bodies found in shallow graves near the spot where 9 Americans were recently abducted have not yet been identified. Several countries have told their citizens to leave Iraq. Russia is evacuating more than 500 oil workers. And the Philippines says it may withdraw troops and humanitarian personnel. Another blow to the coalition efforts to restore stability and rebuild war-torn Iraq. The Arab satellite station Al Arabiya has just reported that they have learned that the French journalist who was abducted yesterday has been freed, but we have yet to confirm that. Meanwhile, Japan is saying nothing about the fate of its 3 hostages who were abducted last week. Back to you, Michael.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Barron in Baghdad for us today.
U.S. officials remain adamant that the handover of power to Iraqis will take place as scheduled on June 30th. But with events going the way they are, that is becoming more difficult every day. Back to you, Dana. A top Air Force general says U.S. warplanes are running about 150 flights a day in the country. Still, insurgents have been able to kill more than 100 U.S. troops in the past month alone and cast doubt on the planned handover of power to Iraqis on June 30th. Michael, back to you.
Lisa, thank you. Lisa Barron in Baghdad for us today.
The current death toll stands at 25,000, but some local doctors believe that with all the bodies still in the rubble, the number is even higher. There is a consensus, though, that more than 72 hours after the initial devastation, there's almost no chance of finding survivors. The search operation is effectively over, and the focus is shifting to humanitarian assistance.
International aid organizations say their biggest concern now is the welfare of the tens of thousands of people who have become homeless, especially women and children.
There aren't enough tents or shelter, and the nighttime air is freezing. More than 20 countries have extended a helping hand to this remote city, fighting to contain a natural disaster. Lisa Barron, CBS News, Spam, Iran.
Sergeant Ronald Buxton and Sergeant Marquette Whiteside never imagined they'd end up on the cover of Time magazine, or that they, along with the hundreds of thousands of troops serving in Iraq and elsewhere, would be named Time's Person of the Year.
That's the most awesome part about the whole magazine. The person is not just one, it's all of us. That's awesome.
There have been some staunch supporters of this war. There have been some sharp critics, but nobody has been able to simply ignore it. And the Time Award shows the men who are fighting it that they're not forgotten. Buxton from Lake Ozark, Missouri, and Whiteside from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, are attached to the 1st Armored Division in one of Baghdad's most volatile areas. They were trained for combat, but they find themselves in charge of law and order.
There is no average day around here. It's just, I say, like, it's 3 days rotate. One day we have patrol, one day we have QRF, which is quick reaction force. The next day we escorts.
Earlier this month, 2 journalists from Time magazine joined Buxton's patrol. They were in a marketplace when an assailant threw a grenade into their Humvee, seriously wounding 2 of the soldiers and both journalists. One of them lost a hand.
His hand ended up absorbing a good chunk of the blast.
Whiteside has had close calls of his own. Last month, he survived a grenade attack on his vehicle. One of his closest friends died.
It didn't really hit me till like the next day is when I really sat down and like, man, I could have been killed. It could have been my last night on this earth.
He says that's the hardest part of the job, a job that the magazine calls crucial to the ultimate success or failure of this war. Lisa Barron, CBS News, Baghdad.